Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of the Liquid Knowledge Podcast. My name's Ryan and here we're talking about puppies. Puppies.
I like puppies!
Puppies!
We are live!
But should we be? Welcome to episode 2 of the Liquid Knowledge Podcast. And here's our topic for today, nihilism.
This sounds copyrighted. Or, as some may know it, existential nihilism, or simply existentiality. Or...
That's about all we have time for today.
Okay, so I've known about nihilism, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, from a while ago. I watched a little video about the topic, optimistic nihilism. I didn't really get the concept then, but I looked a little more into it and I found it's something that I sort of believe in. It's a very dismal way of looking at life. There are ways you can look at it to sort of really, make a change to your life. You can look at it in a negative way, in that life has no meaning, or you can look at it in an optimistic way, where you can give your life meaning. I've sort of gone a bit ahead of myself here, but basically the definition of nihilism is the philosophical belief that life is meaningless. It's based on the fact that we're here and the human race is here for no real purpose. We're simply just evolution that was a little bit more advanced.
This is based around a variety of factors, such as that we're just simply a species that was not smart enough, or that was smart enough to take care of themselves so well that we could think about other things.
Yeah.
Humans just have that deep need to know everything and have a sense of purpose and compelled to create meaning in their life that may not even be there.
Just adding on to that, I think humans are the only life forms that exist that have a really complex form of communication. Like you have birds that communicate in whistles, whales communicate with clicks, just like dolphins. But humans, they have whole dialects, whole languages that they can communicate with. And I think that's sort of something that's helped us in an evolutionary sense. We've been able to share knowledge, very complex knowledge at that, so that we can further ourselves a lot more than other species.
Yeah, I saw that language is probably the most important evolutionary tool that we have.
Yes.
Just because it's so important to communicate.
That is correct. So the idea dates back around 200 years. It was very revolutionary, but it was also very controversial in the sense that it went against a lot of the religious beliefs at the time.
It's opposed to religion because it's based 100% off science, in that there's no afterlife. Just when you die, it's just that your cells aren't replicating themselves and they're just wasting away.
So yeah, that's it. So pretty much the basis of optimistic nihilism, or looking at nihilism in a way that can benefit you, is that you need to live your life doing the things that are best for you and sort of that make you feel the best, because there's nothing after death. So because nihilism is based off the fact that life is meaningless, it means you're only here once. So there's no point in doing things that are good for the future of everyone else, if that's what it could be, if that's what brings purpose to your life. But really it means we should be living our lives doing the things that make us feel the best personally, because this is the only time that we're going to be here.
It's basically just focusing on solely yourself, because there's not really any point in focusing on if people remember you for a good reason, because life is just going to end soon or whenever.
Yeah, coming back to the fact that we're basically just a blip in the universe's existence. The universe is trillions and trillions of years old, and we're going to be gone in 7 billion years. We would have been here for 8 billion years, and they talk about the cosmic calendar, where the 1st of January, midnight, is the start of the entire universe, the Big Bang. And up until now, we have been less than a second in the entire cosmic year, December 31st, midnight being
the present moment.
Yeah, just instead of just like the universe, that like even the world that we live on, we're just in comparison to all the animals that have evolved and where we are now, we're just like a tiny little segment of everything that's happened on Earth.
Yeah, exactly. We're not special, you know. If you think about it, this is a subject for another podcast episode, but we most likely are not the only intelligent life forms in the universe. There could be hundreds of thousands of other intelligent life forms, even more intelligent life forms than ourselves. You know, we're basically just a cluster of cells. Billions and billions of years ago, a primitive hunter cell ate a mitochondria and then it started dividing, and that was basically the start of complex life on planet Earth, and we're just one of the products of that, and then we're probably going to be gone pretty soon if we keep going the way we're going. So yeah, just reiterating the fact that we're just a blink in the eye of Mother Nature.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting to think about it, but like it's not something I want to think about too much. So it like sometimes makes me feel really down.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to look at life and just say like, oh,
I'm gonna go hit them.
yeah. That's our special guest today, Riley. It's really depressing, sort of, to think about that. That once life ends, there's just nothing there for you, and just not even a black screen. It's just nothing.
It's like before being born.
Yeah, just before being born, you can't remember it. You have no consciousness. It's just nothingness.
And it's so hard to comprehend nothingness. Like you think of nothingness as like hearing nothing, seeing nothing, but it's even less than that.
Yeah,
which
it's just being nothing.
Yeah.
Because you close your eyes and you see nothing, but you're seeing darkness. Your optic nerve is still processing. It processes nothing, that there's nothing there. And your ears, they're always trying to
pick up sound.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's less than nothing when you're dead.
Exactly.
And also, like, for us, purpose, like the concept of purpose doesn't exist in any other mammal. Like, we're the only people that try and create purpose for ourselves and question what is, like, why are we here? And like feeling, like if you think about it, feeling doesn't even exist. Feeling is just a combination of chemicals being pumped through your brain that's causing reactions in your body. Like feelings aren't even a thing, you know?
Yeah.
Everything's just chemical and molecular, and the universe is just sort of so mechanical like that and almost cold.
It's just like going back to humans. It's just that animals have like 4 main primitive drives, like sex, food, water, and shelter.
And that's it.
And that's pretty much it. And we have like so many more different needs
to animals.
Yeah, and just like, we need love, we need to be cared for. But all love is just a burst of just
dopamine,
yeah,
serotonin. Even in the late Paleolithic sort of caveman era, we only had, like, I think those were our only needs that still existed. Like, it was, like, back then it was only sex, food, water, shelter. And that was it until humans started communicating properly, started building, and started sort of developing more, that we created these extra needs that we have. Like, because we're so well cared for, we were bored, you know? That's all it is, we were bored. And so our brain, we needed stimulation, so we created all these other things that we needed. We needed fun, we needed other things that we like didn't need before.
We just started inventing and discovering and just developing everything that we wanted instead of just focusing on what we needed.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it. A little bit about the history of nihilism. It was really kind of prevalent in Western intellectual history since the Cyrenaics, which was, I think, about 800 BC was the first written example, or written sort of works about nihilism and the sort of philosophy behind it. And also it's interesting, in the Renaissance, Shakespeare summarised the nihilist perspective through his play Macbeth. Sort of when King Macbeth, at the end of the play, his outlook on his fate is really sort of depressing. And at the end of the play, with his wife dead from suicide and his throne threatened, he literally asks himself, what was the point? Like, that's his dialogue in the play.
He lost everything, so
Yeah.
he just questions what's the point of even living once you've lost everything.
That's it. So yeah, from that, philosophers Arthur Schopenhauer, Soren Kierkegaard, and Friedrich Nietzsche expanded on Macbeth's attitudes, and Nietzsche in particular became one of the most popular nihilist philosophers ever. And the atheistic existentialist movement sort of began to spread in France in the 1940s during World War II. Pretty dismal or depressing time in history. So many literary pieces being published on the topic. One particular was Alan Pratt, and in his piece he states, the common thread in the literature of the existentialists is coping with the emotional anguish arising from our confrontation with nothingness. So sort of, he really talks about human struggle to comprehend that there's nothing after life or death, and he's sort of built on the idea that religion and all the other things that we've made are sort of based on the fear of death, you know. The thing is, people pray to get into heaven. That's it. People are afraid of death, and that's sort of, nihilism sort of challenges that and encourages people to not be afraid of death, but to try and do everything you can before you die, because there's nothing after death.
I believe that, expanding upon that it could potentially be a good thing that all humans come to terms with, but it's also interesting to think that what would happen if nobody cared, nobody looked after the environment or anything.
Yeah.
Everyone just, it'd be like the purge in a sort of sense, just like everyone would just
The
go
anarchy.
wild. Yeah.
You'd be lit.
And yeah, sort of, there's no death without life in the end. The scythe that death carries is not just used to kill the dead, but to sow the seeds of new life. Now we have our special guest, Riley King, here.
Yo.
A nihilist, I guess.
Or a person we thought would be a really
Interesting.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like, fuck.
That's a pretty good way to describe it, really.
Yep. And that's all from me.
I guess the thing stopping all humans from having...
It feels weird to say now, hey?
Yeah.
Universe.
Everyone just plays
You know.
I guess the only thing stopping us from all being nihilists is just our morals and values.
And our fear of death. So that's all we have time for today on the Liquid Knowledge podcast. Hopefully next episode will be a little bit more uplifting than the nothingness of death. But yeah, see you next time. I'm Angus.
I'm Ryan. Remember to like, comment and subscribe.
And you forgot about forgot about me. My name is Riley, and
We'll get him on next time.
on one where I know something,
No, we can do it next time.
a funny podcast, not a shitty, depressing one.